All right, all right. All right. Get this out of here. Here we go. Music's not too loud. We're gonna get back into the swing of things. It's been it's been a minute, to be honest. But ladies and gents, like I got my suit on, like Nike. I just went on a walk with Hondo. But how are you guys doing Tuesday evening for October 3rd, 2023? Happy October, everybody.
It's finally October.
We are officially, I mean, I was going to say the Halloween month, but Halloween month to us is starts a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's a lot of months for us. But...
I feel like by the time we get to October, we're like, yay, it's Halloween.
Yeah, yay. So tired. But how are you guys doing this Tuesday evening where we have a special live stream for you guys? Because we are going to be talking about things we've never talked about before on the channel. Things that we got to experience this past week, last week. Yeah. Technically, it was 2 weeks ago. Because it was the week before.
Oh, week. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Technically. But we got back last week. Anyways, how are you guys doing this fine Tuesday evening here in the spooky month of October with the midway to Halloween Horror Nights kind of passed by us the other day, and we are officially into the second half of HHN this year. We got to put this up. We got some super chats to start off with. Antonis Andriotis with a $4.99 saying hello. Hope you guys enjoyed my HHN in Hollywood. My favorite maze this year, definitely Chucky Ultimate Kill Count. Antonis, my man, thank you so much for $4.99. And you're right on topic. We're going to be discussing everything HHN Hollywood and kind of comparing Hollywood with Orlando. And we got a couple things. I say a couple. I feel like there's going to be a lot of things we're really going to discuss. A lot of things we're going to break down information-wise. We're going to talk about our whole trip, kind of with the HHN aspect of that. And we're really going to break down kind of our experience, what we thought of the event, some of the simple things. And then as the live stream progresses, the later that we get to the live stream, we're really going to discuss some big key details that we think are needing to be addressed publicly, at least from our perspective and our, I guess, from our experience, as you will. But then we also got E-Shredder. I think the X-Shredder, EC Shredder, like ECVs, like the ECVs, ECV Shredder. Anyways, ECV or ECV EC Shredder with the 10 saying, I've missed your videos. Glad you're back. And, you know, we're actually really happy to be back. It feels like we've been gone for a very long time. That is probably the one big negative about going out to HHN Hollywood is that we kind of have this like mid-season, off-season kind of thing. Yeah. You know, where we just have this, like you said, like this gap of just nothing, not being able to put anything out there because we're visiting the West Coast and we're filming some stuff and getting things prepped out there. So it is very good to be back. And I say this, I think, all the time, but when we went through our schedule and we looked at the videos that we have to create and created and to put up for you guys and stuff, I think it's like 5 live streams, including this one, and 6 videos, I believe, for the month of October. It's going to be a very busy month for us content-wise. We got a lot that we want to create for you guys just because of the absence we had. And it's been a long time. We haven't even posted a video, I believe, since opening weekend. It's kind of been a quick season for us, and we just had so much to do. Yeah. And it just feels like we haven't had the time to really put in for the content. But we're building up for next year's content. Don't you worry. So EC Shredder, great having you. We're glad to be back. Thanks for having us. And for the 10, truly appreciate it. Good seeing all of you guys. Hope you guys are doing good. We're excited, man. So, HHN Hollywood. Technically 2 weeks ago, right? Mm-hmm. We went, and this was right after the last live stream we had with you guys that Tuesday, 2 weeks ago. We left Thursday morning, early flight. For anybody who's in the Fright Club, you guys know well that it was an early flight, and you guys got to see a travel day video that we did for you guys. So anybody in the Fright Club, if you got to see it, awesome. Glad you guys got to see it. And if you haven't yet, you're in the Fright Club, be sure to check it out in your little section on YouTube because we do have that special video for you guys. And then for any of you who are not in the Fright Club, obviously that's just for the Fright Club members, but it was our little travel day video. So got up early, flew out to California bright early in the day, got checked into the Hilton at Universal Studios Hollywood. What was your first thoughts running through your head when you first pulled up to, I mean, I guess California, but like Universal Studios Hollywood?
It's a big hill.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole I guess motto out there is just hills and hills.
Yeah. When you go up to like Universal, it's on like a big hill. So
yeah, it's right past the Hollywood Hills, and
Yeah.
I mean, or I guess it's technically that, but
the Uber was like pulling up it, and we were like, "Oh, dang!"
yeah.
And then the hotel was on like a hill.
Like, look,
like
everything
a huge
basically
hill.
in Universal or Universal Hollywood is like on a mountain, practically, which is very different from us here out in Central Florida. We don't have those what they call mountains. We maybe have a little hill here and there, but that's about it. We're pretty much flat out here.
And then, like Javier said, I imagine the weather was great. No rain. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole trip, we didn't have to think about rain.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
I never
Which
pulled
actually,
the weather app
like, when we got back, then, like, our first night back, we were like, oh, we have to look at the weather app. Oh, no.
And, of course, it rained and the
Yeah.
humidity and all that stuff. But, yeah, the weather was fantastic. But we'll talk about when we pulled up to the hotel, kind of your thoughts on because if you guys didn't know, when we got to the Hilton, because we did post stories on our Instagram. So if you guys followed us on Instagram, we had our stories up on Instagram, kind of showcasing the our whole trip, kind of in the live moment of things. And we stayed on the 17th floor of Hilton Universal, and we got to overlook the park, which was a special treat, to be honest, getting to see the park. And it was kind of weird. I mean, like, you had the mountain and stuff, you could see everything. I think when we first pulled into the room, it was around noon. We looked out the window and Waterworld was going on.
Yeah.
And it's like right at the entrance. And then City Walk is right there too. It was a very weird feeling for us.
Yeah.
Seeing this park for the first time with our very own eyes and from the perspective that we got to see it, because that's not what I was expecting to see, to be honest.
No, not at all.
But it was really cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I loved it. HHN Hollywood, or HHN Hollywood, Hollywood Universal, right? Pretty cool. Cool park. Small compared to ours.
Yeah.
I like the, the view that they had and stuff.
We didn't get to do, like, as much during the day.
No. Well,
not working
I mean, if you guys don't know, oh, here, I'll fix it. I got you. Hold on, guys. Go ahead and put it back in.
We didn't do as much during the day because we did the 2 p.m. ticket. We didn't do, like, all day and then HHN because I think we would have died. So we just did the 2 p.m. ticket. So both days we got in at 2 and had from like 2 to 5 is kind of when they started closing things down, like the daily operation. So we had like 2 to 5 to do like the daytime part.
Spoiler, guys, we got the 2 p.m. with Express for the first night.
Yes.
Last time we talked to you guys, we did not have any of that. And the last second, we kind of got, I don't want to say screwed over, but we kind of got pressured into it because they showed that they had availability for the Express Pass. And we're like, okay, let's get it. And then when we called them, they're like, no, we actually don't have it. I know the website shows it, but we don't have it.
They said, oh, there's only one.
Yeah, and we
So
couldn't.
we were like, can we get 2?
Yeah,
and they were like,
couldn't
no.
get hard.
So, yes, we did get to see Super Nintendo World, which was really cool. We got to go on the Mario Kart ride, which was really cool. I honestly had a lot of fun on that.
Yeah, we're kind of Steph's kind of jumping over with it because that was the second day.
Yeah, but I'm just
kind of what we did.
Talking
for the day.
about like the daytime, because then we'll get into
Surprise! The second day we also got 2 p.m., but we
Yes.
didn't get Express.
We got 2 p.m. because Brian wanted to do the Mario Kart ride.
Yes, I really did. But I also wanted to. Okay, so let me go back in order to kind of make it more understandable for you guys. We had no 2 p.m. for both days at all, and the night before we flew out, we ended up somehow getting 2 p.m. with Express. I said, all right, whatever. So we put the money down and we got it. And I'm actually really glad that we did. right?
Those lines are no joke.
And then the next morning, I woke up and got on the phone with Universal and was able to get us 2 p.m. This time we didn't do Express just because we also wanted to do the studio tour, the daytime tram, and then wanted to see Mario Kart, which I'm glad we did. Those were really cool.
They were really cool.
We got to see the original soundstage where Dracula was filmed, which, if you guys know us, I got emotional during that moment. We saw that soundstage because I was like,
it was pretty cool.
Bela Lugosi was there. Dracula was filmed.
What's really cool is like those are active like sound stages, but they also like take you by where like the buildings are where they like have meetings about movies and stuff, which is so cool.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I'm glad we did that.
Yeah.
But we didn't get to see like we did Super Mario or Super Nintendo and the Mario Kart ride. We did the studio tour and then Mummy.
The first night was Mummy.
And I think those were the only 3 rides that we did.
Yeah, we did Mummy the first night, and then Mario Kart and the studio tour the second night.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the daytime experience that we had. The first, we got the 2 p.m. to kind of explore the park and kind of get to know where we were, because we had no idea going through the park. But then the night rolled in. We were getting in line, and it was time for HHN.
No, we didn't get to do Secret Life of Pets. Sorry. Elizabeth asked.
Oh. Yeah, and we didn't get to, sorry, Elizabeth,
we didn't do Kung Fu Panda
Kung Fu.
either.
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyways, back to HHN Hollywood, right? HHN, Halloween Horror Nights, that's what HHN stands for some of you guys that may not know that. Halloween Horror Nights, we got to do it in Hollywood for the first time ever. And I'll tell you what, Stephanie probably made the best, how do I put this? Probably the best comment when it comes to the event out there. You can't compare apples to oranges. And that's what HHN Orlando and HHN Hollywood's like. It's like apples and oranges. You really can't compare the two because they're two completely different events. They really are.
And we hear so much like mixed things when it comes to like, oh, which one is better? And I think it's really hard to say like which one is better because it depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah. Should we save that part for after? Because then I want to see if we can, I don't know, maybe surprise. I don't know. We'll see. We'll surprise some people. So we'll kind of just talk about like the experience, what we kind of did, go through it. Not too much though, because we do have a video on it. We did film the first night. We didn't film the second night. The second night we were out there, we actually ran into a gentleman by the name of Brian Sevilla, saying, "What's up, guys? It was a pleasure meeting you on the West Coast." This is the gentleman we ran into out there and took some of the advice that he gave us 2 weeks ago during that live stream, and got to meet him in Waterworld. And all we did pretty much was stand in that toys scare zone and just like film there and just had a good time. That was a blast. Hope you had a blast at Disney. Yes, if you guys don't know, we did do Disneyland. Don't tell anybody. And if you come back, you'll have to do Knott's Scary Farm. Yeah, so we really do want to do Knott's one year. Just this year was not in the books for us. So, but Brian, was great meeting you. Thanks for the 5, my man. Glad to have you on board again. So, we have a video. We filmed the first night, and that video is, from the start of us getting to HHN Hollywood all the way to the end of it. And we have some things that we stay in that video. I plan to have that out by Thursday, hopefully. I was gonna have it up before this live stream. We've been so busy with getting back, trying to get caught up on things.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yawn? Oh, you're just yawning? Oh, yeah. I thought you were building up to say something.
No.
You're like...
Sorry, no.
No, you're good, you're good. Where was I? So I was trying to plan to have this video up before then, but we're just getting back into the swing of things, and just a lot to get caught up on, and I didn't want to rush that video. I want to make it somewhat decent for you guys to be able to enjoy it. So I'm pushing that back to hopefully Thursday I can have up for you guys. I'm pretty much going to take tomorrow just in editing it all day tomorrow, get it ready, and hopefully have it by Thursday morning, if not by Thursday evening. So you guys can see that portion. But we'll kind of talk about some of the experiences that we had, give you guys some of the more detailed breakdowns and some of the stuff that we did with the houses, the scare zones, the terror tram, the show, all the things. And then towards the end of that live stream, or I don't know, Steph and I, we never go with what we have planned. Steph will read y'all's comment. I'll probably go on a 10-minute tangent about something completely irrelevant. And some point We're going to discuss what we think about Hollywood and Orlando, which one we like better, what we would like to see incorporated between the both, because that's going to be the meat of this live stream. That's the good part. The other stuff of us just going in and whatever. I'm ready to get into a full-on serious conversation with you guys about Halloween Horror Nights and the direction they're taking, especially on both coasts. So, you guys locked in, strapped in, ready to rock?
You're looking at me?
I mean, kind of. I was looking at you.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. I love the enthusiasm.
Let's go.
Yay! Halloween Horror Nights. We've been doing this for how long? Southridge Films, though, jumping in with a 4-month Fright Club membership here, saying, did you save any millipedes at HHN Hollywood? If not, you really can't compare.
I don't think we did.
I don't think I saved anything over there.
No, you didn't save anything.
I didn't save money for sure.
I was going to say, not money.
I did not save money. No. And that should show you what we really mean about Orlando. But Southridge, good having you on board. Speaking of Southridge, guys, guess what we finally got in the mail? We got our copies of the Pumpkin Man film. Just one of them. I only got one copy. Nothing too crazy, right? But to the winners of the Pumpkin Man film giveaway that we did a few weeks back, as in like a month ago, we just got those in. We'll be sending those out for you guys pretty soon. And then Miss Shannabelle, anything? Nothing? Just
4 months.
Shanna saying, hey,
Yeah.
I'm here. 4 months. Shanna, great having you in the Fright Club for 4 months. And then Fun Guy Gamer 64 saying, just wanted to thank you two again for all your content throughout the years. It was a pleasure to catch a minute with you last week. Yes, we actually got to meet the Fun Guy Gamer, which is really cool. And I really wanted to thank you for calming my girlfriend through her HHN nervousness. Here's toast for you too. Thank you, Fun Guy. We appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. It was good. Yeah, it was great meeting you and the girl out there. I'm glad that she actually got to go through Dueling Dragons at least.
Yeah.
Did she get to go through anything else, or was that it? I think that might have been it, right?
Regardless, I hope she had a good rest of her night.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. So, But thank you for the 64. Too kind. That's too much. I'm assuming that's 32 and 32 doubled up for HHN 32.
Oh,
32.
I was wondering what the...
You know how Fun Guy Gamer is. He gets into the stuff. So, but anyways, HHN Hollywood, guys, right? Wow. Very different. I had, honestly...
Did you mean to put that on the screen?
Oh, Mish! No, I didn't mean to, but that's how I feel. Whoa! But anyways, I had a good time overall. This was one of those moments where, because it was a brand new park to us, we've never been there, it felt like we were actually tourists, like visiting, because we're here in the theme parks all the time here on the East Coast. You kind of get used to it, right? So when we got to go around, I told you guys, I think the last time before we stepped out there, I said one of the number one things I'm looking forward to is the atmosphere out there, seeing what it looks like, because what I love from our event the most is the atmosphere. And the atmosphere out there is very different. It's completely different. But it's still a lot of fun. So the night we started with, night one, the first house we did was Stranger Things. And it was very different even, from being out there and getting into the queue line and stuff. They have TVs up in the queues and stuff, and the TVs in the queue were showing Stranger Things stuff. And when we saw that, we were immediately like, why does Orlando not have more interactive queues? Even Hollywood has more interactive queues, I would say, than Orlando does. They have a lot more projections up too.
Stranger Things, I was reading, so I don't know if you said this, but the line for Stranger Things, they even had TVs that were showing.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Oh, okay. So, why can't we have that? Yeah. Unless they added that since we were gone.
Well, so the TVs, obviously, they're already a part of the queue for the rides there, right? Because you're going through some of the queue lines for the rides. But they use what they have. And even some of the other queues, as we're kind of just walking backstage, getting to certain houses, they have the projections up. Now, I don't know when those projectors went up. I'm not really sure. But when we finally came back this past week, projectors finally went up in the queue lines for the houses at Orlando, which, we're going to get into that more. We'll get into that more. I don't want to completely dive off the deep end with how I'm going to use the word pissed I am with certain things. We'll dive into that later. But we got to see the TVs, and it was playing Stranger Things stuff. The music was going, and before we even got into the sound stage, they were playing Master of Puppets out loud. They were also playing the separate or Journey Separate Ways. They were playing that song, which was used in the trailer for Stranger Things season 4. For those of you that may not know that, which I'm sure all of you probably do, but that was also playing out
Journey,
loud.
Though. It was a different band. It wasn't Journey.
Really?
It was like a cover.
Oh, it might have been a cover. Yeah, probably. But it was. They were still playing that, and it's like when we were walking up to it, and I think there was another song. I feel like there was one more song.
I think there was, but I don't remember.
Right.
There was a different one that was playing when we came out.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember. I have it on video somewhere. But anyways, we were like not even into the soundstage yet. Which once you go to the soundstage, there's still a little bit of queue line before you get into the house, and you can see the facade there and all, which was Eddie's trailer, just like ours out here on the East Coast. But before we were getting in all that music, I was like, I'm getting excited. I'm getting hyped up, and that's one thing that. I'm not going to try to go off in the deep end here, but that's one thing that Orlando kind of lacks here, where they're not building that excitement up to the house until you actually get to the house. Where I feel like Hollywood's kind of like pumping you up until you finally get to the house. You're already, you're revved up. You're ready to go.
Yeah.
So we went through Stranger Things, had a good time, right? We went through all the houses that night, had a good time. We tried some of the food, tried some of the drinks and stuff. And the weather was fantastic. That first night, the weather was magical. We're like, this is what like Halloween Horror Nights should feel like, weather-wise. We don't get that in the East Coast. Not until the last week of October, until it starts feeling like Halloween, like the fall season.
Yeah.
So, but I think we did all houses. We did Stranger Things twice. We did the Holidays in Hell house twice. We did Exorcist once. We did The Last of Us twice. And those were the
first night.
I'm talking all nights.
Oh,
Just talking all nights. We did Last of Us twice. Those 4 houses were in the lower lot. Then in the upper lot, we did Evil Dead twice. We did Monstros, the Latin America one. We did that twice. We did Classic Monsters Unmasked once and Chucky once. Then we did the Terror Tram once. And Waterworld, the Purge show once.
Yeah.
So we got to pretty much see the event. Did a couple houses.
Didn't do the Blumhouse thing.
No,
but everybody that we talked to said like you don't.
Yeah, even the people we were meeting there, they were like, you don't have to do that. Which we're like, cool, we didn't plan on doing it anyways. Yeah. So I'm glad we did not go for that. But so we did the houses a couple times. We had a couple houses in there we did a couple of times. And then the other houses we did once. And then we did all the scare zones. And this is what I'm pretty much going to say. The first night, when we went through the scare zones, I looked at Stephanie and I went, holy cow. And the scare zones were that good that I said the next night, which was the second night, that's all we're doing. And that's literally all we did.
And the crazy thing is, like, they don't have elaborate sets or costumes or, like, themed music or anything like that. It's literally just, like, kind of a theme, and the costumes kind of go with that theme. But it's just the scare actors. Like, they don't need any of that stuff because the scare actors are so good. So, I'm sure we'll get into that. I won't go into it too much.
Yeah, also, Derek Johnson said the speakers blast in your ears.
Yes,
which we will,
so annoying.
We will be getting into that. But yeah, somebody's gonna lose their hearing there.
I know. Misha had also asked, how was the walking compared to Orlando? And I know a lot of people have said that the walking in Hollywood is really bad, but I think that might be like in previous years, because this year it really wasn't that bad. Like the walking to get to Monsters and Chucky was a little bit, but I wouldn't like it didn't feel like, oh my god, we're walking so much.
Yeah, Monsters and Chucky, I guess that's the Curious George lot or something like that they call it. That one, when you're walking out there, you're kind of like, where are we going, kind of thing. But the walking, I feel like, is pretty much, I feel like it's the same here in Orlando. It just feels like it feels like it's a lot. And like I said, this is something we'll get when we talk about the logistics and things. We're gonna get into that later on. But because there's an upper lot and then there's a lower lot, it feels very separate. But they did not do like the back lot or the studio lot, whatever they call it, where they had the toxic tunnel and all that. They didn't have that for this year, which that means that would have been a lot more walking. And when we did the studio tour during the day, we noticed how much further those other places could have been. So we really didn't see a problem with the walking. I mean, it's just a lot of walking depending on how much you do at the event.
Especially because the houses are fairly like grouped together. Like you don't have any one house that's like all off on its own. Like you have like Monsters and Chucky are right next to each other. And then Monstrose and Evil Dead were right next to each other. And then all three on the lower lot are all right next to each other. 4? Stranger Things, oh yeah, Exorcist. I was forgetting Exorcist. All 4 on the lower lot are literally all right next to each other.
Yeah, so, the entrances is in one little corner, so practically.
We didn't feel like there was a lot of walking. But I think if we went back to Monsters and Chucky like multiple times, it probably would have been a lot. But I feel like since they're both back there, you can just go back there and do like both of those at one time.
Yeah. Do you want to discuss the houses a bit?
Yeah.
Kind of give a little detail on what we thought about the houses. So, like, what did you think of Stranger Things? Because that was our first house. So we'll kind of start with the lower lot and then we'll work our way to the upper lot.
So I had really high hopes for Stranger Things because we had heard so many people saying it was so much better than Orlando's. I felt like it was the same as Orlando's. Like, different scenes, but pretty much the same house.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly, like, I went in to HHN Hollywood into the houses with low expectations. I know a lot of people said it's really good, and I had expectations for it to be good, but I went in with low expectations because Orlando has just so much more. You know, there's so much more space, so much more sets, so much more design, budget, all that kind of stuff compared to Hollywood. So I don't want to go in there trying to expect that we're going to get something big, like massive and stuff. But the sets in Hollywood, I will say, for how small of a space that they have for some of these houses, I was very surprised with how long the walkthrough in that house actually felt. There were some houses that I'm like, they just keep going. Like, where are they putting all this in there? Mm-hmm. So they do a really good job in that. And Stranger Things was one of them. Obviously, in a soundstage, much more space to use than some of the other houses. But Stranger Things, it was decent, right? I liked it just as much as I like Orlando's. And you guys know me, Orlando's is more towards the bottom for me. And I just think it's because there's so much potential in a Stranger Things season 4 house that I felt like they missed out on. But the one thing about Hollywood that I really like that they do over what Orlando does is that Hollywood follows the season where Orlando follows Vecna more. And I like the season more because we see more of the characters. We see more of that progression through the season of Stranger Things season 4. And it was really cool. And I think there is one specific scene. There is one specific scene that we saw that I loved. Because I hate it here in Orlando. I absolutely hate it in Orlando. And when I saw this one specific scene, I was like, okay, I like this house. I didn't care to see anything else in the house but this. What? And that is the scene where the clock is in the coffin in the woods. We have the clock in the coffin on the left with just a screen.
Yeah,
that's
that
it.
One's pretty bad.
Right, terrible. The one in Hollywood, they have it off to the right, but they actually have like trees that they put up. They try to make it look more like the woods and stuff, and it feels like you're actually kind of in the woods.
Yeah,
it really does feel like that. So I was like, why couldn't they do this back home in Orlando? Right?
I will say, then you immediately, I think right after that, you go into the like desert California scene, and it's literally just like dirt on the ground with those like
small
pictures on the walls and no scare actors.
Yeah,
no
that
mannequins,
kinda,
nothing in that room.
Yeah, that one's that.
And I will say, I like our scene where 11 and 1 are fighting better because you're in the middle of them rather than it just being like off to the side.
Hollywood has them more off to the side, where the one in Orlando, you walk right between that little fight, and I do like that one better.
I liked our like Eddie scene better
I agree.
Too.
If I could put, this is the best way I could explain the Stranger Things houses for both. If we could just blend both of them into one house, I think it'd be a good house.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can put it. But because they basically both coasts looked at Stranger Things season 4, and it felt like it was a draft pick. They're like, you get this scene, I'm going to get this scene. I'm going to get that scene, you're going to get this scene. And even with that, it felt like they're like, you're going to get the budget for that scene, we're not. We're going to get the budget for this scene, but you're not.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of felt like to us. So I really wished that they were able to go fully into the details with those houses for both coasts. But other than that, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. It was fun. The scare actors in the house, and it's something that you guys are going to see kind of a theme here. Scare actors in the house had a lot of energy. Lots of energy. And that is something that Steph and I, we absolutely love when it comes to just HHN in any particular matter, whether it's scare zones, streets, the houses, the shows, mazes, sound stages, tents, wherever. The scare actors, if they have the energy and they're really pouring it on, that is something that I'm like, I love it, period. Don't care what the details like. I love the energy. And so the scare actors in that house, they really brought it on in actually every single house. That is something we're going to keep talking about. It's the energy.
Oh, yeah.
The energy. So, Stranger Things Season 4. The house there, cool. Right?
And I feel like with comparing these houses, we also have to, remember that we only got to go through most of these houses one time. Whereas we're going through the Orlando ones multiple times.
We have a list of how many times, too.
Yeah. We have, I think Darkest Steel, we're at 12. So...
For the most.
Yeah. So it's hard to compare, it's hard to compare when it's like your first time going through them. Because if you look back to our first time going through the Orlando houses, we were like, the houses suck this year. And now we're like, we love them. So it's like, we also might have gotten bad run-throughs and things like that. So just keeping that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't really base the whole event off of one.
Yeah.
Technically 2 nights, but one walkthrough.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point that you made.
Anyway, we can keep moving on.
Yeah, so that was 5:15. No.
That was my walking pad.
The 5:30 was the time that we went through that house, right? Once they opened up, 5:30, we were going in. And the Last of Us line was already closed off.
That was really frustrating. I will say the lines closing throughout the night, that was annoying.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, in Hollywood, they just don't have the space in the queue line, so they have to physically shut down the queue lines up in order to get more space so they can send more people in.
Last of Us would open for 2 minutes and then close
immediately
again.
Be closed
We'd
off.
be heading to go to the lower lot, and then it'd be oh, it's closed again.
Yeah. So that was throughout the 2 nights we were there. Last of Us and Stranger Things, Exorcist, and I think that is it.
And yeah, the only one that got super long, but maybe they just have room over there for the queue. But Chucky just kept getting higher and higher and higher.
135 minutes or something
but
that.
They must just have room to keep extending the queue.
But we saw those houses continuously have their queue line shut down just because of how busy it was. It was a busy few nights that when we were there, that busy weekend. Yeah. It was quite busy at the park. But
what's crazy is the lines for Express. The first night we went, we used Express. The lines for Express were non-existent. Every time we went through Express, we were the only people in the line, if not the second.
Yeah.
We were walking up and there was one other person in front of us.
Every time we used it, we just went straight to the house.
We got done with that. We pretty much got done with the houses. And we're
it was
all right, what else do you want to do?
I don't even think it was 10 o'clock and we were finished. And we were just we were also taking our time because we've never been there. We were filming as well. But one thing that I love that Hollywood does is that on their signs, the portals is what we call them, they have the wait time for standby, and then right next to it, they have the wait time for express.
I like that.
I wish that Orlando could do such a thing.
The one thing that I don't like about... I'll go turn it off.
It's fine.
One thing
Stephanie's treadmill keeps beeping in the back, which we don't know why it does that.
The one thing I don't like about their portals, though, is I like that ours, the TVs with the wait times, are on the top of the portal, so you can see it from far away over crowds. Whereas theirs, they're down low, so you have to get up. Yeah,
there's so many people blocking it
before you can actually see what the wait time is.
Yeah.
So.
But it's also a small little box.
Yeah.
Where ours is a TV. And of course, you can look on the Universal app to see the wait times, but it doesn't show the express wait times. I don't believe, does it? I don't think it does.
The what?
The express wait times.
For Orlando?
No, Hollywood. The express wait times for the houses.
Yeah, it showed that.
On the app.
Oh, not on the app. Sorry.
I think I lost you.
Well, you just kept giving me bits and pieces of your question. I didn't hear any of it.
I thought you were listening to what I was saying.
No.
So. All right. We're on track. But yeah, I don't think it showed it on the app. So you had to physically go up there to see what it was, but nothing was really more than like a 45-second wait.
Yeah, it was even if it said like 15 minutes, it like wasn't.
They lied. It was the walk. So the first house we did was Stranger Things. Then we hopped over to go to Exorcist because Last of Us. We were going to do Last of Us. The line closed off. When we got to Exorcist,
we did Holidays first.
Yes, we did.
Oh.
When we went to go to Exorcist, the Exorcist line was already about to close off. They were already filling up then. So what we decided was, let's go to Holidays real quick because it said that Holidays was only a 5-minute wait. There was nobody in line for some reason Holidays. They were trying to get into the main IP ones.
Yeah.
So we said, let's go to Holidays. And we ended up doing standby as well, like we did Stranger Things. Saved our express for those two so we could do them later in the night. And we got to go through it. And Holidays was really cool.
I liked it a lot. It just made me nauseous.
But there's spoilers. We got sick.
You're about to say it.
I know. We got sick, right? Hollywood, I don't know who's in charge of this. Bree, I know you're I'm a lead scenic painter. Okay, so this isn't from
she has to do
this
with
isn't for you, Bree. Like you're let off the hook here with this one. Who's in charge of the scents out in Hollywood? Because I kid you not, there was in Holidays, this is where we really had this moment. We got into the St. Patrick's Day scene with the leprechaun. And I will never forget this moment for the rest of my life, right? I legitimately came around the corner and I let out a cough. I had one cough for some reason. I coughed and I took a big breath of fresh air, except it wasn't fresh. From that room in the St. Patrick's Day room, I don't know what scent that was, but I almost threw up immediately.
It's like rotting meat.
It smelled like something died for years and has been sitting there piled up. I don't know what was going on.
And our plan was to do like a few of those lower lot houses first and then go and get food. And we went to like the Stellar Bar after that to get like food and drinks and stuff. And Brian was like, do you want any food? And I was like, I can't eat. I'm so nauseous.
So Bree, who's in charge of that? Because I want to have a talk with him.
The St. Patrick's Day one that one bothered me, but I think what bothered me the most was the Thanksgiving room. That also smelled like turkey legs. Like, you know, the smell of turkey legs?
Turkey legs from 2021. Like,
yeah, but like
that long ago.
Like if you were like swimming through the turkey legs.
Like, it was so, okay. Like the house was amazing. It really was. I love the house. I love this like this anthology type of thing when they get like multiple stories and themes into one cohesive like house.
I love it.
It was
That's
great.
Why I like that house so much.
Yeah, we love that house. And even before you got in, they actually had a stilt walker. They also brought another scare actor later on too. In front of the facade that was interacting with guests before you even got into the house. That's something that Hollywood does that Orlando doesn't really do.
No.
So that was actually really neat. Love that. And we got to go through, see all the different holidays. Absolutely had a blast. Loved it. But the scents in those two rooms was god-awful. And it was just preparing us for what was also supposed to come later in the night, which we'll be getting into. But the scents are just...
They are very strong. I do feel like they do complement like what they're supposed to be conveying. They're just extremely strong. So if you have like a weak stomach, if you're like pregnant, would not recommend.
If you're just alive and you don't want to die, don't breathe in those houses.
Yeah, I had to hold my breath.
Yeah, there's the second time we went in that house when we used our express. I think from St. Patrick's room, I held my breath until we got out of the house. I think I almost passed out just because I didn't want to breathe any bit of that air in.
Yeah.
But Bree, I think she's saying thank you. I hope that means I already know what was. Yeah. So Bree, you know what's coming in. So Holidays in Hell.
Talking about
the stink, the stench.
Oh,
the horrid.
I know what you're talking about. That one was bad too.
The next house. Now, I kind of expected this one because we have it here in Orlando, and that is The Exorcist. We got to go through Exorcist. It was like a $1 million wait. I don't know how freaking long it was, but we had Express, and it took us 10 seconds.
Yes.
They put us right in the house, and the Exorcist house was very weird. We've gone through ours so many times, and I love ours here.
Mm-hmm.
but theirs starts off a lot slower than ours does. There's like a few rooms in the beginning where there's really nothing. I don't know if we missed some scare actors
We might have.
potentially. Like their houses are very different than ours. Even when you go through it, you can kind of sense that. But it was kind of a slow build. But that house felt like it was the longest like house I've ever been through at an HHN event.
It did feel very long.
Like that was a long walkthrough. I just didn't think it was going to end. There was some rooms that had a lot of good detail, and then they had this was probably the first house that we did of the night and in Hollywood that I was like, black walls. That makes sense. That's where it really hit me, where I realized, okay, black walls and stuff. And then they painted it red in a sense, but I could tell that's all it was. It was just a wall. And Hollywood does one of these things where they have like the curtains that you have to constantly go through. They have a lot more of that than what we did. What I liked about Exorcist is the fact that they actually painted those walls. So most of the time we went in those walls and stuff, the first time I didn't know those were like black walls in a sense. I'm calling them black walls. Bree, you might be laughing at me saying they're not. I just like when I went through it the first time, I thought those were like legit, like actual pieces until I realized some of them were just like plain painted walls. And it's because Hollywood doesn't have the budget Orlando does and doesn't have the space. So this house did a very well job, like a very well job.
Well done.
Did a well done. This house did a great job with using the space they had to be able to make the house. I almost called it the maze. Wow, I'm converting to Hollywood. The house, making it feel very long, and it did feel long. They were able to get a lot of scare actors in there, which I'm very interested to see a bird's eye view of the house, basically constructed to see where the scare actors go in and out and stuff. Because I feel like theirs is a little different than what we do in Orlando.
I will say the houses there, the way that we do our houses in Orlando.
Bree said it was vinyl, by the way.
Yeah. The way that we do our houses in Orlando is typically like you have the structure of the building or the tent or whatever, and then they have the maze part built inside of that, and the scare actors all come in from the outside into their boo holes. So every hole or doorway that you see in one of the houses in Orlando, for the most part, is a boo hole.
Yeah.
Whereas in Hollywood, there were so many like doorways that were not boo holes. They were just like
what they were, to be honest.
Active doorways, and just like, I don't know what they were for, but it threw me off because I would be like, oh, someone coming out. And then
sometimes it'll be like double too. So I'm expecting like a double scare, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what that was.
Yeah, and we don't really have that as much. We have that in some houses in Orlando, but not nearly as much.
Yeah. Also, got to bring this up. SoCal Haunts and Parks joining as a Fright Club beginner. Welcome to the Fright Club team. Notice we're having a lot of people from the West Coast talking. It's good seeing some West Coast peeps. I know we don't really ever talk about Hollywood since we're all like Orlando, but
now we can.
But yeah, now we can. And on top of that, because of this trip that we took, we're going to be talking about Hollywood all next year as well.
Yeah.
Because guess what? We do plan to go back. We have to because the weather is freaking awesome. And we're saving the best for last. All right. Another thing to talk about, and we're going to get back into The Exorcist, but another thing to talk about that was a little different, and I didn't really notice it until we got into The Exorcist house, besides those fake doorways, I guess we're going to call them. You guys might have an actual term for them. The house ops people. They wear like the robes that our scare actors in Orlando wear when they come out to guest view. The house ops people were wearing them, and they like fully like cloak in them. So all you see is this just hooded dark figure doing this with their little like wand.
The first guy that came up to us, I thought it was a guest in like Harry Potter robes.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Can I see your wristband?" And I was like, "Oh, do you work here?"
Yeah, I was like, "What? I was like, what are you talking about?" So it was a little weird seeing them dressed like that, but I will say I like it more because when you're in the house, there were some that I noticed were there, but they weren't distracting like the ones that we have in Orlando that are just normal house ops just kind of standing there. I like that they really cloak up because in certain rooms, I didn't even notice there were some in certain rooms until I saw the wand come out. And I was like, what? I thought it was a scare, but I was like, oh, I didn't know what that was. So seeing that, that's another element that I did like in some cases. And then for the very beginning of me seeing that for the first time, I was kind of like, what? Who's that?
Mm-hmm.
what was that character? I don't know that character. Just the house ops. So, but I did like that. I think that's something that I do like, that they kind of
blend in a little
blend
more.
in. Yeah. So, but yeah, Javier said Death Eaters, right?
Yeah,
That's kind of what it felt
I
like. So, but Exorcist, back to Exorcist. Here in Orlando, we have the bedroom scene that smells like crap.
See, I don't think it smells like that. I think it smells bad, but I don't think it smells like that.
It smells like crap. Absolute dog crap, right? The Exorcist house in Hollywood reeks with that. It felt like... Do you guys know that scene in Jurassic Park 3 where the satellite phone is in the dinosaur crap?
I guess.
And it's the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Right? Anyways, I felt like I opened that mound up and I walked inside of it when we got into the Exorcist, the barn scene. It was...
The bedroom scene was probably about the same as ours, but the barn scene, that smelled like a zoo that has not been cleaned in months.
And it's been around since the dinosaurs. Guys, that was horrible. See, Bree said, yes, it was actually crap. The barn smelled like stinky horse crap. Yes, it was terrible. It was terrible. It makes me gag. It makes me sick even thinking about it. When we got in there, took a breath. And it was like an instant second I stopped breathing. My eyes opened, and I do not remember what happened for the next few scenes. I blacked out because I'm sitting there thinking, like, what did I just breathe in? What did I just step in?
Yeah, I think I had like coughed a bit and then had to like.
Yeah, you were. I saw you in front of me covering your nose. I have it on video.
There were several houses where I had to do that because I was like,
it was bad. I think I was, and I got to film through all the houses. In Hollywood, you actually get to film through the houses, which is kind of cool. I prefer our situation here, but we got to film through the houses, so I did it so I can have some footage for you guys for the video. And I believe, if I can remember, when we got into that scene, my camera went down. I brought the camera down, and I was like, my eyes were watering, and I was disoriented, and I don't remember a couple things until we got into a hallway where a scare actor came out and brought the camera back up, and that is it. I don't really remember much from The Exorcist. Because of that moment, because of that scene, we did not go back through Exorcist again for those 2 nights. I said, that is it. I am done. We did The Exorcist. No more. I'm good.
Yeah, he didn't want to do it anymore.
I'm not going to go in that house, right? People are like, was it scary? I was like, yes. My nostrils died. So...
I will say I'm very split. Like, I feel like Exorcist, if you're comparing like coasts, our house, I like the girls for our house better. They have like the forehead prosthetics, but they have their faces as like the actors' faces, so they can like distort their faces and like it's more expressive.
Yeah.
Whereas I think majority of the girl scare, like the young girls scare actors in Hollywood have like full masks on, which is creepy because they have that creepy face.
Yeah.
But I like that the ones that we have here are able to have that expression.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say they're like monster like things with the horns way scarier because they're like in your face. I had one literally like come over top of me, and I felt like he was gonna like
almost wrapped up
like give me a hug.
Yeah.
But
hey Steph.
But they also have them up on those like the platforms, which does make it scarier.
That's what we're gonna talk about later on. But Exorcist, we really noticed that.
Yeah.
The platforms. And that's something actually I was just about to get into was the scare actors in the house were fantastic. Energy was really high. And I think that, I don't know if that was the first one, because the Holidays in Hell one had some really aggressive scares. But that house, that was the first time we really saw that platform-like scare that they have a lot in Hollywood. And I really like it. I feel like it's cheap, but they do it so effectively out there. The scare actors use that rail and the platform to really get above you and to really scare you. And we noticed that with Exorcist, and I was like, wow. Like the way, I mean, just how...
Yeah.
We'll save it. We'll save it.
And I like one thing that Hollywood does a lot with those platforms and just their houses in general is I feel like the end of their houses are always like more packed with scare actors. So it's like when you're getting to the end, it almost like ramps up and then you're done. Whereas like I feel like Orlando, it's more like evenly spaced out.
Now I gotta bring this up. This guy here, Mr. Jim Daniels, I believe. Hey Jim, have you been out to Hollywood?
He has,
right?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if Jim's been to Hollywood.
Us he has.
Maybe. Jim Daniels with the 50. It's too much. You guys, it's too much, Jim. Looks like Hollywood is going to be better.
I don't know.
Looks like that, all right? But we still have a lot to talk about, all right?
We'll see.
We're only in house number 3. So save that one. But Jim with the 50, thank you. Too kind of you. Too kind. So Jim said he hasn't been this year. Are you going to go this year, Jim? By the way, I'm curious now. You don't have to answer that if you don't want to, by the way. But yeah, I'm interested in now. I'd like to talk to you about some stuff about Hollywood. Interesting. But Exorcist was fun. It was good. Almost threw up. And those 2 houses back to back where the sense really just kind of killed me. And I was like, oof. Brie, what, the FX team, right? I think, yeah, she said, yeah. The sense, and here's the thing, like, whoever's in charge of it, like, you guys really nailed what those scents would be in the scene. I know you talked about it being, like, an immersive thing. And I really got, like, I have to give you guys an applaud for that, because you guys did it. But I'm going to ask that you and your team, or the FX team, whoever's in charge, not to do it that much next year. Please. Because I don't think I could survive that. It's just that strong. But if you were trying to create, I'm somebody I'm a big stickler on details and making things as immersive and as I call quote unquote perfect in that scenario, what it actually would be like. I'm a big stickler on that, and I think those houses really nailed what those scenes and scents would actually be like if you were physically there. I just would say though, I don't know if anybody really wants to have that kind of experience though in the house when it comes to the smell. But everything else was great though. So that was it for the lower lot because we didn't do Last of Us until later in the night. So let's continue with the path that we chose. And I believe the next house on our list was Chucky and Monsters, right? And
Chucky first.
Chucky was the first one we did out of those. And we were walking there, and one thing that I loved, and I said this to you, and I believe I said it on the video too that I'm editing, they had projectors pretty much like everywhere that they could. And it was like actually created for the event, right? It wasn't the ads that they had where like Orlando right now, you know, they showcase the ads that we have portraying like the house announcements and things like that. But they had just like randomized like Halloween Horror Nights signs with skulls, flames, things like that. And I thought that was really neat. It kind of reminds me of like what Busch Gardens and some other parks do for their events, which I'm not the craziest about it, but I like how they make things original for their event, if that makes sense. I would like to see some other things used too, but I do like that, I will say. So we were passing by in the long walk to go to Chucky and Monsters, and they were side by side, and we did Chucky first, and this was the longest wait. No, this was the second longest wait that we had in Express. Chucky, and it was a total of 1.5 minutes.
I was gonna say it was like 2 people.
Yeah, but we waited like 1.5 minutes.
I think the longest line that we had in Express was Evil Dead Rise. Because it merges way back.
It does technically, but yeah, do you count that because of the merge point?
Yes.
Well, Last of Us was longer though, right? Just because the Express was actually that long. That's
true.
Or yes. Evil Dead, the merge was further back, but we were technically... Sure. All right, anyways, it doesn't matter. You guys don't care. Steph and I could talk about that for an hour. But anyways, Chucky, this was one of the longer waits. It was just 1.5 minutes. But I'm glad it was because we were stopped right in front of the facade, which was a bunch of the Chucky doll boxes with a bunch of Chuckies in it. And they were interacting with the audience. They were actually talking to the audience, not in real time. But they had just like a whole thing they were doing. And then the different Chuckies would talk with the other Chuckies, and they were just kind of communicating and stuff.
Yeah.
I really liked that. I thought that was cool. In Orlando, we kind of have the TVs, the Fast and Furious, that kind of like explain the story, which I also do like. But I like that they're like facade like that's interactive. I think that was really neat.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't seem they didn't go with the whole like meta, like he's upset about, you know, the house not being like them actually killing people. It seems like they're just more so going for like, this is his house and he's trying to kill you. Does that make sense? I don't know if that was like the goal, but that's what it seems like. And because it was a little bit more like concise, I think the house itself made more sense, because it basically was just like you're going through the TV show. And then they had like TVs of Chucky when you went through each different scene, and he was kind of explaining like the kill count at the end of that previous scene, and then like it showed you like what the next scene is about. So I liked that because it made more sense to me. And they also had way more of the like the, I don't know if they're puppets or animatronics.
Well,
but
Thousand Eyes said Chucky's a pretty high budgeted haunted house, lots of animatronics.
Yeah,
and I do think there was more animatronics. And I mean, just in Hollywood in general, it felt like there was a lot.
There was one room I remember going through. There was one room where there were like 4 Chucky dolls, all like killing like people. They were like they were just like mannequins, but they had like 4 of those little Chucky dolls, and they're animatronics. They're all moving and stuff, and it looked really cool.
Jim Daniels is in the chat, and Jim doesn't like Chucky, but let me say this. When we did that house, Steph and I purely enjoyed the Chucky house.
Yeah.
The Chucky house there surprised me the most out of all the houses in Hollywood. And I think it's just because of how bad our Chucky house is in Orlando, that their house looks legendary compared to ours. That was just kind of our experience going through. Scare actors had lots of energy. The house felt like it was very energetic from beginning to end. And the animatronics or puppets or whatever they were, they looked good. They looked really good. And the storyline and the way that they created that, I thought was very well concise. And it made sense. And it just worked. It worked where ours didn't work, if that makes sense to you guys. So when we went through it, I felt like when we got out of it, we're like, yes, that's exactly what we wanted from the Chucky house. So that's what we were hoping to get, at least bare minimum. So that house felt so good compared to what we have in Orlando. That's one that we could have compared. And because of the experience we had, I was like, their Chucky's way better than ours. That was the only house I could say, though, when it comes to the houses. We'll get into that more. But that house, when we got out, we're like, that right there, that is the reason that theirs will win over ours. And I thought that's how the rest of the night was going to go too. But there was a specific scene too where they have a lot of there's a lot of water effects used this year in Horror Nights over both coasts that we noticed. And there's one in this house that's not a spray, but it's actually like a spout of water. And I got shot in the left shoulder with this, and my left shoulder was soaked with water. I don't know how much water I got hit with, but it felt deliberate from Chucky.
Yeah,
but it was something that was actually kind of cool. I liked it. I can imagine if somebody was this height, though, that would be right in the face. That'd be a lot. But luckily enough, I got hit just in the shoulder. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't hit. I almost hit the camera. And I think I have it on video. You'll see the water coming out, and I had to move. But the effects in there was really good. The Chucky house really surprised me. We came out of there, and we were actually really happy with that, because that's what we would want from a Chucky house at the least.
Jim said that was not water. It was someone throwing up.
Well, it was a lot of it. And I'll tell you what, if it was throw up, my nostrils were completely burnt from Exorcist and holidays that I could not smell it. So, but yeah, Chucky, good time. Enjoyed it. I was actually very surprised with it.
It's actually probably one of my higher houses for the night.
Yeah, and we'll get into the ranking with HHN Hollywood houses after we talk about all the houses. And I think the ranking's gonna be very different than what we have in Orlando. So the next one we did was one that I was really looking forward to. The Universal Classic Monsters Unmasked. Oh, see, that was when I said, just puppets. So they were puppets though.
No. He was
asking.
asking, or they were asking if ours are animatronics, and I said no, mainly just puppets.
Yeah. All right, so we did monsters. Unmasked next. The one in Orlando is just much better. Period. It doesn't even come close.
Yeah.
This one really used a lot of like dark sceneries and stuff, and that's really where we got the black walls kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It was still a really good house. That's the thing. It's like I can sit here and say like, oh, right, it wasn't like Orlando's, but the one in Orlando it's just really good in our opinion. It's actually my number one house right now in Orlando. Our last walkthrough we had this past weekend, I really loved. So the one in Hollywood though, it was like you were actually in the catacombs, right? It wasn't like the sewers in a sense. We were actually in the catacombs for a bit. It's a little different than what we have, but what really saved this house for me, the scare actors. Why? Because the energy is just that freaking good. I don't know what it is with Hollywood scare actors out there, and I know you guys are going to say because they're actually actors, this and that. I don't care. They give it their all, right? The scare actors in Monsters was aggressive. This was the first house out of the houses that we've done. We've done 4 before this one, so this was the 5th house. This was the first house where I had scare actors up in my face, where I was like, I myself had to take a step back. I was like, oh, because they were just that aggressive, which made me love the house. Yeah.
I think I got really bad timing on this house. Brian was behind me and he got all of the scares. I missed every single one. I honestly don't remember most of this house. I remember like the one scene of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
And they had a lot of, I felt like they had a lot of Mr. Hydes.
And I remember they did have there was one, I think it was Quasimodo, like pours the boiling thing on you, but actual water comes out. And for some reason that really got me.
Anything above stuff gets stuff.
Yeah, anything that's like coming up from above always gets me. But other than that, I can't really remember most of that house, and I think it was just because I had really bad timing. So that was actually lower on my list.
And I will say, even Thousand Eyes said the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde part gave him the best scare of the entire night. I feel like that house, all classic monster houses for some reason, has just pure raw energy all the time, and that's why we love those houses so much. But I will say though, it's probably lower on your list because, like you said, you missed some of the scares. Because I had the camera and I was behind Steph, I felt like they targeted me more to be on the camera. And this was a lot of houses, which is why I don't like the cameras to be in the houses. But I know I sound like a hypocrite because I filmed in the house, right? But that's the reason why I just don't like the cameras being used in the house, because the scare actors, they targeted me with the camera and they're missing Steph right in the front. So I feel like that was one of those houses that you missed a bit, but I was able to get a lot of it, and it was one of those where I was like, I'm just trying to walk here, like I don't want to touch you or anything, you know. Yeah. But that was a good run through. I enjoyed it. It's so hard, man. Comparing that to ours, it's really unfair. Yeah. It's just unfair,
especially because we went in, having gone through ours
Not so my many fault.
Yeah, so many times.
This is quote of the day. I'm putting it on I'm putting it up for everyone to see.
Because we've gone through ours and had that as like our first kind of like, that's what's in our mind, and then we go through the one in Hollywood. They're so different. The one that we have in Orlando, like the sets and the scenes are so like massive, and they just don't have the space to do that in the tents in Hollywood. Yeah. So like comparing them, it kind of like isn't really fair to Hollywood. Just
like you said that week, and like I said at the beginning of the stream, it's comparing apples to oranges. Yeah. Very different, right? It's hard. And that's one of the things, like, we try to tell ourselves not to compare them, just to enjoy them for what they are. And if you just think about it for what it is, it's still really good. I mean, you're talking about top-notch quality, top-notch scares. It's a top-notch event compared to some of the other ones. But that one house in particular just has an unfair disadvantage when you come from Orlando and you go to the Classic Monsters house here. It just doesn't live up to it. But the scares, I think, was... Oh, what happened?
Hello?
Did we disappear? What did you see? I just saw the whole screen get swallowed.
Yeah, me too.
HHN Hollywood's mad.
Are we good?
What did you say? End the stream. Orlando's like, you're cheating on us. End the stream.
They're both mad at us.
They're always mad at us. All right, so that was house number 5. We did monsters. Then house number 6 was Evil Dead. I think Evil Dead was our next one. Then we did Monstros. And then I think I'm losing connection. Can you guys see us? Are we good?
Hold on. Let me go turn off my computer.
I already did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, everything's off.
I don't know.
We're just having a moment. Another glitch. I promise you guys this isn't scripted. I don't have any glitches in this one. Or do I?
Ooh.
Oh. Everyone's like, oh, you're okay now. I know.
Anyway. I'm sorry, my brain. I've been on work meetings all day.
Yeah, today's been a long day.
Anyway, Evil Dead Rise was my most anticipated. And I liked it a lot. I don't think it's number 1, but I did like it a lot. I think the hardest thing with IPs is they have so much to live up to, because if it's not like exactly like the movie, and especially with a movie like Evil Dead Rise, where it is so like, it's done, like the movie's done so well, it's super gory, like it's hard to recreate that in person. So I feel like it is really difficult to make it look exactly like that. It's not going to. The characters would have to spend hours and hours in prosthetics in order for it to like look just like that. So they obviously can't do that with time and budget. So they have masks and things like that, which they look good, but it's not the same, right? Would you agree? But I did like the house.
If I'm correct me if I'm wrong here, West Coast peeps. That was in the Walking Dead attraction, correct? We'll see until somebody comments back. I think that was in the Walking Dead attraction. But I really liked it. There were certain scenes in there that when we got in, especially their living room, their main room
cool.
scene.
I like that.
That was a scene that when we walked in there, one, freaking awesome. But two, that felt like we were in an Orlando house.
Yeah.
That felt like a lot of budget in there, a lot of space. Felt like we were in a sound stage. All the theming, the sounds, everything was really freaking fantastic. One of my favorite things I think from this house that I actually geeked out a little bit in was when we passed by the book and the incantation was going on. That was the number one scene.
A lot.
Yeah, that was the number one most anticipated house and number one most anticipated scene that I had for Hollywood.
And I love I love the way they conveyed that, because it was like, obviously you could just have the book sitting there, but it's not as scary as like when you're watching the movie and it's like has those close-ups of like the pages and everything. And they did that with the walls being like those, I don't know what they're called, but the screens that kind of like they flip to where like when a light turns on, it looks completely different.
Yeah.
And it looks like just the bedroom, and then that light turns on and it's like the pages of the book. It is so cool. I like that part a lot.
I'm in love with Halloween Horror Nights. Period.
That's it.
I love Horror Nights. The teams, and Brie, I guess we'll throw your name in the mix because you're involved in it. Just the creative element that you guys have for the event. This was one of those houses that I was like, oh,
yeah,
that was cool. And Evil Dead Rise was a movie that Steph and I both got to see in theaters multiple times.
No, only once.
Right?
I watched it on the plane.
On the plane there, yeah, that's right. I was like, we've seen it a couple times. Yeah, Steph saw it on the plane to Hollywood, so you were getting in the spirit for it. But this is a house we really loved, or excuse me, this was a movie we really loved, and some of the elements in it were really strong. And I think for Hollywood, for what they have, I think they were able to incorporate those moments very well. And I was impressed with this house. I really liked it. I don't think it was number one, and it was because of where it was and what they could do. Some of the scenes were just like random halls that they had in The Walking Dead. They just had to go through. Mm-hmm. But it was still really cool. Loved it. Had a good time. The scare actors, aggressive, high energy.
Yeah.
Just like I've said all night, every single house, the scare actors had a high energy. This is one of those houses where even in that large room where it was me from one of the boo holes was a good 10 to 15 feet. Around 15 feet, I would say. And the scare actor opens the door and full on charges me. And I'm sitting here with the camera just smiling like yes. Like I was so excited just to see that. And then they were like, instead of just turning around and walking back into their doorway, their boo hole or whatever, they would keep the whole look, and they kept like they were looking at you. They had the head tilt a bit. They had it slightly lower, not full on, but slightly lower to give that creepy eye look to it. And they just had this sluggish look on one of their shoulders, and they'd walk back.
Do the whole thing.
I'm not going to stand up and do the whole thing.
They kept their character until they were out of guest view, instead of like.
I don't know. They probably were still doing it.
That was one thing that I liked that they did in that house a lot, which I think it's probably because it was Walking Dead, so it was kind of that area's outfitted already to be like a haunted house. But I liked that in that house they had a lot of like doors that the scare actors actually like opened. So like you didn't know if that was like a real door or if it was, because it's not like just like a doorway, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they had doors that the scare actors had to open and come out of. Which I like that a lot because you don't know like where they're gonna come out from before you see the scare. It
was a very well done house.
I will say one thing that this house did, and there were a few other houses that I noticed that they do in Hollywood that they don't do in Orlando, and it kind of, I don't like that they do it in Hollywood. It kind of like killed it for me. Was when they have like an audio that is not a trigger and it's on a loop, they loop it like it's constantly looping, and
it's a little too quick.
It'll be like a 5-second audio, but it loops constantly. So if you're like slowly going through that room, you hear that same audio like
a few times,
like 5 to 10 times, and I don't love that.
Yeah, all I would say is with that audio loop, like I would just give it an extra second. Just 1 second is all it needs. I think it's a little too close to it where and especially in The Last of Us, there's one, I don't remember it for some reason. I don't know how I don't remember it. But it's like something Ellie says.
Yes, it's at the end of the Last of Us house.
And it's just like constantly. So when you're waiting in line to go to Last of Us, you're right by there, and that's all you hear. Every 2 seconds, it's the same like 4 words. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. So that's one thing I wish that they just kind of, they spreaded it out just a little bit, like it would be where a scare actor would time their trigger in under 3 seconds, like 2 to 3 seconds.
And I don't know if that's like something that we only notice because we don't really have that in Orlando. So it was a little jarring to us because it's like, whoa, like, because we're not used to hearing that. You know what I mean? I don't know if people who like typically go to Hollywood, like they don't really get bothered by it because they're used to it, if that makes sense. But it was a little jarring to us. We were like,
yeah, I think it was a little too much over the top. So, but Evil Dead Rise, great house, loved it, happy with it. I think for the space that they had, it was good. For what I was expecting, that was pretty much what I was expecting from Hollywood.
Yeah.
But man, would I have loved to have that house in a soundstage or in one of the parade buildings in Orlando. God, guys. Evil Dead Rise in Orlando would have been great. I don't know why we didn't get it out here on the East Coast. It really bums me out. But I'm really thankful and blessed that we had the opportunity to go out to Hollywood this year and to be able to check out that house. I'm really happy we did that. Yeah, that was fun.
That was cool.
So, but next up,
Monstrous.
Monstros.
I think this,
Yes.
if I'm allowed to
Yeah.
get to it, I think this was my favorite one.
Yeah, both of ours. This was our number one house. Monstros, the Latin America one.
They did have a smelly room that kind of got me, but
see, I didn't think it was too bad.
It just smelled like meat, and when it's like that artificial meat smell, it like messes with my stomach more so than like the poop and stuff.
I don't know. The poop is terrible. I could not stand that one. But the Monstros one, I loved.
Yeah.
Beautiful house.
Scary.
The sounds to it. And I think this one was the most aggressive house when it came to the scare actors and the energy.
The like animatronics, insane.
Yeah, they had this giant animatronic in there, and I was like,
that bird one was crazy.
One, yeah.
And then the puppet at the end
they had this,
was
insane.
The
last puppet they had at the end, the huge one or whatever. I have it on video. I have this on video. It's all gonna be, well, maybe.
The like highlights will be.
I'll try to have some of the highlights, but I don't know if we're going to be describing it in the video and all. So if you guys watch our video when we do put this out, remember this moment. The last puppet that they have, the giant head, that's all I'm going to say, about knocked me out clear on the floor. Because that thing,
I just got out of the way and
swinging up, and I'm just an innocent guy coming through the curtain as Steph is popping out to the side, and that is all I see rising from the ground. I think it's about maybe my camera, right? It's about this big or that wide, maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Right? That's how close that thing got to my head.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to react except going, yeah! Like I screamed just like, I don't know, I was pumped. But then we got a house and I was like, holy smokes.
This was intense.
The scare actors, holy smokes. The scare actors in this house was beyond aggressive. I loved it. This house is what made me fall in love with the event, I will say. I love that in the beginning, the facade, they had a scare actor in the front, just like Holidays in Hell, interacting. Same with Last of Us, which is our next house. They had scare actors out there getting you into the house, which is such a cool little feature. I love that. And just the energy from the start to the ending, it was like an anthology type of house too, which I really loved. Showed you the different creatures, Latin America creatures and stuff. So I love that. But the details in this was really well done. The way that this house felt long in the space they had, I'm really surprised.
Really long.
Yeah, it felt like we were in a small little alleyway right next to Mel's, and it felt like we were in an actual like full-on sprung tent in Orlando.
It was really long. Yeah.
So.
They had a stilt walker in there, like
they had a stilt walker. That's right. Forget about that.
Yeah. So that was my favorite house. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like the Latin America like monsters and all that stuff are super creepy to begin with. So then like to put them in a house like and like I think that like I think only Hollywood could do it, because I think if Orlando tried to do that house, it wouldn't be nearly as scary, and I don't think it would work.
We'll get into that at the end.
Okay.
We'll get into it at the end, because we're getting to the good parts of this stream. Don't worry. Jim Daniels though popping in here just to say ciao to everybody with the 50 cent for the Hondo Fund. Who we actually got the couch over here. He's sleeping on right now.
Yeah.
Have to catch a plane. Have a good stream. Hopefully catch the plane and safe flights to wherever the mysterious location you are going. He's like, I'm going to Hollywood. See ya.
He said 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. Well, have a safe flight, Jim. Good having you on tonight's live stream. Thank you again for the donuts. I wish we had donuts.
That sounds good.
So Monstros was great. Loved the Monstros. The vibe of that was just perfect. And what was really cool that I liked too is that when you exited the house, you were right away into a scare zone. Kind of like what we have in Orlando with some of the soundstage houses, but not so much like when you get out of the soundstage, you kind of still have to walk backstage till you get there. This house, you literally exited into a scare zone. Mm-hmm. Right there. I love that.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That was really cool. And it was, of course, the Mama's scare zone or whatever.
The mummies, right?
The mummies,
yeah.
whatever, right?
That was the first scare zone that we went through.
Yeah, that was the first scare zone we encountered. We'll save the scare zones after.
Okay.
We'll save that one after.
Well, what? What other houses do we have left?
The last one.
Oh, The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. Last of Us, I'm going to keep short, right? Everybody was saying that this house was really good. This house was good.
I did like that. Oh, Jim said he's going to investigate Penhurst. Ooh, good luck with that.
Penhurst.
Sounds scary.
No, what is Penhurst?
I know, I've heard it too. I don't know exactly.
Great, Jim. Now you got stuff. She's going to do a deep rabbit hole investigation herself here. With
yeah, Pennsylvania. I have heard of that one before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Penhurst Asylum. Yeah.
So, Last of Us, I did like that they had more of Joel and Ellie than Orlando does. I don't like that Orlando, we literally have them like...
Twice.
Yeah. They're each in there like 2 times, I think.
Yeah.
I don't really like that. Times. I like that they have them way more in Hollywood. Most of their scare actors were more aggressive, but I don't know if we had really bad run-throughs, but I think I missed a lot of scares. We tried it again the second night, and it was even less full.
Yeah,
like there were we missed a lot of them the second night, but I don't know.
This one just didn't really hit for us. No. I will say, I liked how it was just like Steph was saying. You had Joel and Ellie follow the characters a little bit more. I just think the one in Orlando, we just have much more space, much more detail to be able to present, which was really neat. But I just think we had bad walkthroughs.
I agree.
I think that's the only way to answer it. The first night we did it was our last house we did. I don't think it was that late in the night that we did that one.
No.
So I was surprised with that. And then the second night, that was the first house we did before the event really opened up. So there were some boo holes that we were missing. But it was still a beautiful house for what they had in that tent area. The scare actors, though, some of the scare actors were actually really aggressive, which I still loved. But we missed a lot of that.
We did.
And so that's why when we get to the end of it, and that's what Steph said at the beginning of the live stream, if you guys were here at the beginning of it, where we were kind of talking about not being able to really judge the event fully because we only got to go through some of them one time. You can't base an entire event off of a one single walkthrough of something.
Yeah. Thousand Eyes said Last of Us was the only house they didn't like. And that we're being too kind. It just wasn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just that property. I don't know. Because the one we have in Orlando, we don't really care for that one either. I don't know what it is.
Which one here? Sorry.
The Last of Us.
We need to go through it again. I've heard it's getting better, but I don't know.
But we've said that the one in Orlando, we're like, it would be really good if the scare actors have more energy. We go to Hollywood, their scare actors have more energy, and we're still like, eh. So I don't know.
Yeah, one thing I will say that I really loved with The Last of Us in Hollywood is their facade, their entrance.
I do like that.
Yeah, the fact that, when you're walking up there, you have Joel and Ellie as actual scare actors interacting with one another, just talking like you would actually be there. That was something I really liked, where we don't have that. You kind of get thrown right into the house right away. You're right into it. And that's something I like the parade buildings. I love B108. That is a very historical area for Steph and I. It means a lot to us. And, they have the little wrap that they put on the front as the facade. And you walk in the little door and you're immediately in the house, right? That is one thing I don't like, where Monsters and Hill House did this very well, where, you had the wrap. And in Monsters and in Hill House 2019 and 2021, you had the projection on the facade or on the building, the side of the building. And it was playing, either things based on Hill House, so showing Hill House, or it was based on Monsters and it was showcasing some original things they had for Monsters. So it was already getting you in the mood. The Last of Us, they only had the guitar riff, which is fine. It's awesome. Love that. They don't need to really have anything else. But the two that I mentioned before, Monsters and Hill House, once you walk in, there was kind of this entryway, the facade, the entryway. Monsters, you had the graveyard scene, you had the monster statues that you're kind of walking in, you hear the music, you're building up, You get inside, and then the house starts going. Hill House, you know, you had the facade of the mural, you had the projector, you hear the music, you're building. Once you walk in, boom, there's Hill House, the facade, and it's building even more. It's building, and then you're in the house. Where in Last of Us, what I don't like is that, you know, you have the music, you have the cool Last of Us wrap that's on the side of the building. As soon as you enter those doors, you're in the house right away. There's nothing to really kind of capture you like, whoa, like, okay, we're here, right? And that's something that a couple of houses in Orlando does. I don't know why The Last of Us did not do that in Orlando, where in Hollywood, they kind of have that, and they still had the music and everything to kind of build you up into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked Hollywood's start.
And I think Thousand Eyes also said, like, the environment just really isn't that creepy. I feel like the kind of, like, desolate wasteland sort of setting, like, isn't that creepy because it's quiet. It's like, you know, like, there's not a lot going on. And a lot of, like, the scares are also ordinary people. And I feel like with, like, The Last of Us, at least with the show, because I didn't play the game, but at least with the show, I feel like the scariest thing in The Last of Us is the idea that, like, that you get bit and then you're just like this, like, husk of a person that you know what's going on, but you can't, like,
you're just controlled.
You can't control yourself. And I think that's the scariest thing, which, like, in a haunted house, like, that's not really what is being conveyed. It's more so, like, the jump scares, which, like, I don't know if in the video game there's a lot of, like, jump scares and things like that, but I feel like it's more of a psychological horror than it is, you know, like, jump scares. So I feel like it doesn't translate as well for me. I don't know. For other people, it might be different. But for me, it just doesn't translate well as a house.
See, mine's not playing, but yours is.
Oh, that's weird.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep that in then because I want to hear it.
Okay, go ahead. I, like, can't hear myself when I have that in, so...
I love having the music.
I feel like I'm, like, being suffocated.
See, like, I feel like if I can't hear anything, I'm like, we just look like a bunch of weirdos in the middle of the night talking alone in the corner of the house.
It doesn't bother me.
And our dog's just looking at us like, what are y'all talking about?
It is really pretty, though. Like, both of the, like, Orlando and Hollywood, the set design is amazing. So... I will say that. But.
Yeah. Also want to bring this up here. Fun Guy Gamer, member for 13 months in the Fright Club. Like, we have members already for 13 months. We're coming up to 14, if I'm not mistaken, for some. I can't believe we've been doing it for that long. But Fun Guy said, the Latin American house makes me hopeful for more regional houses in the future. We're super bummed about Japanese creatures not coming to fruition.
I agree.
I wouldn't lose hope on that one, though. Wouldn't lose hope on it. But we do agree. I think those houses are very successful. Do love them. But I think that's all 8 houses that we got to do in Hollywood. I realize we're at an hour and 33 minutes in tonight's live stream. If you guys are just joining us, what's up? You missed the entire talk about Hollywood houses, and you're going to have to replay because we're not going to talk about it much. So we got to do all 8 houses. We got to enjoy the park and see the vibe. We got to do the 3 scare zones they have, which really felt like 2 scare zones.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like there were 3 individual ones. Kind of felt like there was just 2.
Because the 2 in the front kind of, like,
they kind of like blended into one. Really. But let's you know, like I said throughout the night, energy, right? That is my number one most sought out thing when I go to Halloween Horror Nights is where's the energy? That's what I want, that's what I love, that's what I like. Hollywood delivered on energy so much. Houses, scare zones, and even the show. When we saw the show the next day and stuff, the energy was just awesome. I loved it. The actors there, they performed top notch, and it's something that I like have to tip my cap to, because this happened on the first night, but really it just stuck with me on the second night we were there when we did the Toys Scare Zone, and I was watching the scare actors literally sprint, chase people, get in people's faces, run them into stores.
And it's not even that they're like running at like they're running sometimes. It's the fact that they're like constantly like walking.
It's nonstop.
And they're always walking faster than the guests are walking. So I feel like in Orlando, like you have a lot of scare actors. And again, anything that we say in the rest of this stream is not bashing any scare actors.
Let me put this out there. For those of you that may not know, Steph and I have performed for multiple years with Halloween Horror Nights on Orlando's side. Anything that we state right now coming out of our mouths is with the full utmost respect to anybody. We're just being very critical on things that we see with the event, what's the differences on both coasts, and something that we would love to see if both coasts can marry each other in to make the event that much better. That is all we want. Everything we state is for the betterment of the event, period, from our perspective.
And there are some scare actors in Orlando that we do see doing this, but it just seems like in Hollywood, they are like out for blood. Like they're like, it's just constant. It's just constant. They don't like do a scare and then like kind of walk away.
Yeah. When we did the toy scare zone, the first night, and we stood there and kind of watched things for a couple minutes, I looked at Stephanie and I was like, I need to go get suited up right now. And you knew what I meant when I said that, was I need to drop the camera and I need to put one of those costumes on and I need to just be let loose in the scare zone. That is what this scare zone gave me. The music, obviously, the atmosphere that the music created was just high energy, fast paced. I love that. It doesn't work for everything,
right?
But for what that was fantastic. The costumes for the scare actors were actually creepy.
Really
they seemed
creepy.
Really creepy. But the energy there was high, and all the scare actors, they blended well with it, right? There was nothing that was just out of place or just didn't feel like they matched with what the energy was intended to match for there. And it was to the point where after a few minutes of me standing there doing that, I was like, I need to start scaring people. I need to start getting suited up and I need to start just going crazy, because that's what it gave me. The energy in there was so addicting. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
I do feel like, and I mentioned this while we were there, but I think that their scare zones, they don't have as much space. So they don't have as many scare actors in the zones. They do their little cast change show that they do, like,
which that's really cool.
They're like,
we don't do that here.
Ceremonies, but they literally do it every cast change. And there's like what, maybe 8, 10 scare actors that do the toys, and then maybe like 5 or 6 of the chainsaw ghost people.
Yeah.
So there's not a ton of scare actors, and I feel like it helps for them to be a little bit more picky with like who they put in that zone. Maybe like veterans who have done the event for years, they know are going to be like on top of it. And then I feel like it also helps like that cast to be more in tune with each other, so they can, because we saw a lot of like double scares and them interacting with each other and trying to get other people like working together to do that. I feel like that does happen in Orlando. We see that a lot in Vamp. But I feel like it's just different. I feel like the vibe is just completely different.
Yeah. Also, I'm bringing this up. I know Derek's saying this, the ceremony in Orlando and Vamp. That's just a cast swap. What they do in toys is this cast swap, but it's an actual choreographed thing that they do with the music and all that stuff. Where in Vamp, it's just they get in the circle and they kind of do that thing. But man, if I could just get Orlando's event, but bring over Hollywood's scare actors and fill it into Orlando's event, I think I'd be a very happy guy. That's all. That's my one wish. That's all I want for Christmas this year. I want those two events to merge in that way. The actors out there, I was just having a ball, man, watching them. And like I said, we're gonna get very critical on things that we talk about here, but that's just our style. This is our preference. Some of you guys may like things a little differently, and the events may like things a little differently too. We know from experience that the way we are taught to scare in Orlando is very different than the one in Hollywood, and it's much more strict in Orlando than it is in Hollywood. And I know a lot of people use the excuse of, well, Orlando's just more busier. Incorrect. I don't want to hear that excuse ever again. Hollywood, when we went there were hundreds of people stacked on top of each other because Waterworld lets out. And all those guests are walking in the scare zone, and the scare actors are still sprinting through people, scaring people nonstop.
They don't go off to the sides and wait for the crowd to go through.
No, they make you move.
Yeah.
Right? In Orlando, the scare actors will move out of your way. In Hollywood, you better move out of their way. And I love that. That's just my style. That's my preference. And on top of this is what I'm going to say too. In Hollywood, the scare actors, it's just like, their objective is to scare you 24/7. And when we were in the scare zones, one thing that I noticed, and I pulled you aside and I told you, I was like, do you hear that? What is it do you hear? And you told me, I hear screaming and laughing. Remember when we talked about that?
Yeah.
You constantly are hearing screams and laughing all over the place when you're in that scare zone in Hollywood. In Orlando, me and Steph, the other night, what was it, Sunday night?
Yeah.
I think it was Sunday night. Sunday night, we pulled off to the side and we listened to some of the scare zones, and you don't hear the screaming. You don't hear the laughing as much. And I know, obviously, I'm talking of a smaller scare zone compared to bigger scare zones too, but I went to all the scare zones and I went to certain portions and I try to group it together. Hollywood is just constant screams, constant laughing. People are enjoying themselves. Where I know people are still having a great time in Orlando, don't get me wrong. But when we were standing there, I wasn't getting that vibe. I wasn't getting that energy or that atmosphere that really fueled me up in Hollywood. Where in Orlando, it's still a great time. We still love it, but it just wasn't quite there for me. And I feel like, I know, are you getting back to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Steph's going to try to get to all of your comments while I kind of go on my tangent here, because I'm probably going to make an enemy out of some Orlando people here, and I don't mean to. This is just me stating, like I said, we have experience performing in Orlando. So I just wish that we had that type of energy. And I know based on actual contracts and stuff, Steph has done stilts in Universal Orlando before. They make sure that you are not doing certain things. Where in Hollywood, I wonder what certain rules that they have, because it really feels like, with their stilt walkers, they're like, go for it, go have fun. We saw stilt walkers full on charging the streets in Hollywood, which that to me takes talent, it takes skill, and I loved it.
Yeah, they are not allowed to do that in Orlando.
Yeah, in Orlando, our stilt walkers just kind of stand there, and they're not really allowed to move around. Where in Hollywood, they're chasing people into stores, and I love that. So I really wish that we got that over here, and it's more, and it's not really directed towards the scare actors. This is really more directed towards the Universal, like the higher ups, like the I wouldn't even say the coordinators, but more of who puts these policies in place with Universal Orlando for the stilt walkers and stuff, and then what also happens on the side of Hollywood. Like, are they different? Are they the same? What, why are things a little different here and there?
I just feel like, I think it comes down to Orlando is a bigger operation in general. So it has become a little bit more like corporate oversight. Whereas I feel like Hollywood doesn't have that yet. They might, to where things are a little bit more controlled.
Yeah.
But I feel like the scare actors have a very long leash in Hollywood, and it's not like that in Orlando.
No.
And I don't know if it's because we've had issues in Orlando, or because a while ago crowds got really heavy in Orlando and they just haven't really gotten to that point in Hollywood yet to where they've had to be okay, well, we need to control things.
Yeah.
Or they just don't have complaints in Hollywood like we get in Orlando. I don't know.
Yeah, we really don't know when it comes to the technical side of things. We just really don't know, and I'm just speaking from our experience on Hollywood, what we enjoyed, what we like when we go to these events. It's just something that Hollywood really rocked out that I was just like,
Yeah.
like I wish we had this in Orlando.
And like I was kind of saying at the very beginning, we see a lot of people kind of divided on like which event is better. And I think we kind of, so I'll say first that I think it solely depends on what you are looking for in a haunt. If you are looking for, you know, the most detail and the prettiest set design and it to look most like whatever the theme is, it's going to be Orlando. If you're looking for the most options as far as food and, you know, scare zones and houses, it's going to be Orlando. But if you're looking for solely, like the only thing that you care about is the scares, it's going to be Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on what you're looking for. And I think that's kind of like where we've landed is like, we feel like objectively, Orlando's just a better event.
Yeah, I don't think we've told people.
We haven't said it.
Which one is the better event? Orlando, hands down. And I know I'm over here like tooting Hollywood's horn, like, yeah, Hollywood energy. Nothing compares to Orlando. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
You can't come close. Yeah, you can't come close to the quality. And really, like, when people ask, you know, which one's better, Hollywood or Orlando? I'm sorry, but you would be a maniac if you said Hollywood. Orlando just offers more. You get more with Orlando. You get better quality sets and things like that. There's just more with Orlando, period, right? But if we could just, like I said, take Hollywood scare actors and sprinkle them through Orlando, I think that would be the ultimate event to ever roam Earth.
Yeah.
In this solar system.
And I know Crystal and Andrew said that there is like a little bit of a fear from scare actors in Orlando to like get after guests because they don't want to accidentally touch them and have the guests complain, and the coordinators to like get on them for like, you know, touching guests and stuff. Like, it really seems like in Hollywood, like they don't have any fear about that. Like, they don't care. Like, if they touch you, they're like, oh, oops. But
it feels like there is that understanding. I'm going to be honest with you. We had multiple scare actors touch us. Multiple in Hollywood, right? But there's that understanding where I'm not like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, we loved it. I'm like, cool.
And that's where I feel like it might also be like that their scare actors are scare actors who have done it for a long time. Whereas, like, I feel like ever since 2020, our scare actors have been newer. We've noticed a lot of, because we used to work the event, we've noticed a lot of people, a lot of scare actors that we have seen, like in the streets and stuff, like in the last 3 years, are newer.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's because like the ones in Hollywood, because they've done it for a long time, they can kind of gauge like, okay, this person is enjoying this, I'm going to keep pushing it. Or this person is like scared, but they're enjoying it, I'm going to keep pushing it. But this person is like not having a good time, I'm going to leave them alone because I don't want them to get mad at me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Because there were several.
But see, I'm going to say this too about if anybody who's watching us who's a first-time scare actor and stuff, first of all, welcome to the scare community. Because it's exciting. It's a lot of fun. I remember we were in those shoes at once and stuff, and there is a lot of questions that you raise where you're like, what can I and what can't I do? And it does feel like, you know, like in Orlando, it feels a little corporate. Like it feels like, you know, the higher ups, they're bearing down your neck, watching you. I know I don't know if I probably shouldn't say this, but I had multiple times where higher ups would come and they would just threaten to fire me just because you existed, which I don't know if they do that like on a daily basis with our performers out there, but like I've gotten threatened to be fired just because they themselves messed up on something construction wise that had nothing to do with me, but because I was the scare actor in that scene, I was supposedly the owner of that prop. I never used that prop, which is kind of weird. But I just feel like that's an Orlando thing, where in Hollywood it doesn't feel like that. I feel like they work together really on that. And you know, if you're a first-time scare actor and stuff, you know, just go for it. Go have fun. Go enjoy it, you know. Almost like go for no. Be careful. Obviously, don't quote. Don't take my advice on things. I'm not an advice giver at all when it comes to this stuff. But like, just go out and have fun. Yeah, but like, this is the way I look at it. Like, the way that I performed and I scare acted in Horror Nights in Orlando was I acted like every single night was my last night to do this. And if you guys know me starting out, and some of you guys are new to the channel and stuff, I do not like horror. I do not like haunts. I do not like scary things at all. But because of Horror Nights, I've learned to love that. And it's now, I'm involved in a community with tens of thousands of people who love this community so much so that they talk about it every single day. And I can, bless you. I can proudly say that I'm a part of that community. And that is how Steph and I got to meet. And that's how this whole thing is now because of Horror Nights. I love Halloween Horror Nights to death. I'd give my life for it if I could. And, when I was performing, that was always on my mind. Every single set, every single scare was, this is my last scare. And I just kept treating it like that. Like, I'm going to give the best performance that I could. And even when when I didn't have a tag out, if my tag out was off that night or was sick or something happened, I even requested to just stay on that set all night. I did not want to get off because I couldn't stand the point of guests walking in and not seeing that scare actually be in the house.
Yeah. And I think Derek had said that he worked at a local haunt in Salem, which that's cool.
That's actually
but
really neat.
He said it's such a fun job and a total passion for scaring. And I feel like that's one thing that seems to be missing in Orlando a little bit more lately. I think it's not like, okay, no scare actors care about their job or scaring people. That's not what we're saying. It just seems like it has gotten less about the scaring, especially in the streets, and more about, and again, we're going to sound hypocritical, but more about like photos. And it's part of the reason why I haven't been like taking photos as much this year, because I feel like it has gotten to where it's almost like, that's what the streets are for, and I don't like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, I know it sounds hypocritical.
It is because we do that all the time. It's different cultures. Comparing Hollywood to Orlando, it's apples to oranges. The way things run is very differently. The thought process, the ideas, very differently. I mean, it's not like we're talking about Halloween Horror Nights Orlando and Hollow Scream Orlando, which they're right across the road. We're talking about Halloween Horror Nights Orlando and Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood. Complete opposite sides of the country, different demographics, different things all around. It's just a different culture. But I would still, to this day, I would pick Orlando without any hesitation. Orlando's my favorite event. Yes, it's our home. I'm a little biased to it, but it's just better. It really is. Mm-hmm. But Hollywood, man, there's something special out there brewing, and it's one of those that I feel like it's just getting better. And what I'm hoping for is that, and I'm noticing a lot of people out here, there's also a lot of content creators that go out to Hollywood that, here locally in Orlando, they're like, Hollywood's better. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm calling you out on that. I don't think you're telling the truth. I think Orlando is better. It has much more to offer. I know we go out there, and this is what I'm saying. Like, I always try to put myself back from the perspective of the viewer. We go to Hollywood and it's our first time going, and it's like our only vacation, our once in a lifetime type of trip. So we're like, that was awesome. Had a great time. Right. And we go to Orlando all the time where we're kind of like, okay, it's the same thing. Orlando's still going to be the best. But I do feel like from what I'm hearing from guests and content creators about Hollywood, that I'm hoping that Orlando takes that step back and they're like, okay, what do we got to do? Because we're noticing that our friends on the other coast, they're starting to supposedly they're raising the bar a little bit. And I feel like our bar has kind of been set for the past few years. Well,
and I think, I forget who said it, but someone had said like, which they've always had this, but out in Hollywood they have Knott's, and Knott's has been like, upping their bar as well, so they have to kind of compete with that. And I feel like there are a lot of haunts out in that area in California, right? There's a lot of haunts out there.
And that's the thing. In the area we're in the SoCal area, it feels like there's haunts everywhere. Where in Orlando, it's now becoming more of a thing.
Which that's where we're like, we want those other haunts to like get better and better because it'll challenge HHN here to get better as well.
Oh yeah, like guys, I'm a diehard Halloween Horror Nights fan. I'm a loyalist to the HHN community, really right? I'm a loyalist to HHN. Nothing will beat HHN. Period. I'm sorry. However, as much of a loyalist I am, I really want all the other competitive haunts that are around the area or anywhere in the globe to really push HHN to the edge, to really like compete them, to threaten them, to take them like down a notch. And really like competition is always good for the consumer. Competition has always been good for the consumer for the decades and decades that, you know, retail market, like that stuff's been going on. And it's because all it does is it makes the business, the retailer, right? It makes them say, okay, we have to beat the other competitors, which means we have to make a better quality brand product and we have to sell it at a, you know, an X amount to be more competitive against such. So the consumer's in the win because they're getting better quality, they're getting more competitive rates, all that kind of stuff. And that's what I want for HHN Orlando. I want other events to really start, you know, climbing up the ladder to threaten them to where Orlando's like, we need to do something that we did, which put us on the map in the first place. We need to do something like that. We need to raise the bar. And it's really hard, you know? I'm not saying this like, you know, like the creative team needs to step down. Not at all. Like the creative team, what they do is remarkable all the time. And they're there for a reason. But I wonder if it's even possible. You know, this is something as a creator myself, and I might be going on a long tangent here. But as a creator myself, you know, when you create something, you're always looking to step it up just a little bit more for anything and everything that you do. Orlando's got a hard time with that because it's like, how much more can you go? You know, like they set the bar. I really don't think there's anything that could reach that at the moment, but they themselves have to constantly not only reach that bar, but also challenge last year's bar to see if they can make it even better, right? And I feel like there's always those little bits that they do, but then it misses out on some other areas. And it's really hard to be an annual event as big as Horror Nights in Orlando and continuously set a new bar. So I really like my challenges is for the creators to really sit back and say like, okay, we have this groove, we have this comfort zone we're in. What can we do to take us 3 steps out of that zone and to push the level? What can we do then that still feels authentically Universal and Horror Nights, but when our longtime fans go to the event, they're like, this is new and I like it. What can they do? And that's something that us ourselves, we've talked about for so long, and I'm sure all of you guys do the same thing. And we'll host more live streams down the road where we discuss those things. Like if we were in the seats of the creatives, what could we do in our power to fundamentally increase that bar for HHN, but keep it authentically Halloween Horror Nights in Universal? Okay, my pitch is done. I'm sorry. I love this event with all my life, guys.
Yeah.
It's the reason why we breathe.
And Thousand Eyes also asked, what, like, suppose you're the president of Universal, what 3 IP houses would you produce for next year? Do you want to get into that, or
how about this?
Do you want? Because I know we had planned to do a video after the season on that.
Yes. I want to bring Mikey Brown up real quick. Pin that comment. Hold on to that.
Okay.
Mikey Brown, because this is important, the $12, saying, flying out to California on Friday to experience HHN Hollywood for the first time. Truly looking forward to comparing both events. Appreciate your insight as always. HHN Pumpkin Ale on me. Cheers. I have not had a pumpkin ale yet.
You haven't?
I haven't. And every year for Halloween, I always have like pumpkin ale. So I'm going to be using that for it. So Mikey, appreciate it. And actually really excited for you to see HHN Hollywood for the first time on Friday. Probably going to be busy that day. I would just say just soak it in, man. Just soak the views in. Soak in the weather because the weather is frail. It's fantastic.
Coming from Orlando, it is. We don't know where you're coming from.
I don't know where you're coming from. But
I mean, regardless, it's great weather.
It's like perfect, like Halloween haunt weather right now out there. So enjoy that one. You're gonna have a blast, and like also take a moment to when you are in the toys section at night, the toy scare zone, step off to the side and give yourself 10 minutes and just watch. Just watch. And let me know what you think.
It's fun.
So, Mikey, thank you. But back to that comment.
3 IP houses for next year. Do you want to save that? Because I know we have a video we're planning for after the event ends.
Who's asking, by the way? Sorry.
Thousand Eyes.
Yeah. We have some videos planned out for the off season, where we'll talk about some of that stuff, even leading into next year's event. So we'll hold on to that comment. I won't say it now because I'm just realizing we hit the 2-hour mark.
Yes.
But I wanted to put out there because I still feel like I have a lot more. I don't want to stay up too late because we got to be up very early in the morning tomorrow morning for some work. But I was planning and I was thinking, would you guys be interested in doing the HHN live stream after party tonight and bringing those back? Just because we haven't had those in quite a minute. Would you guys be interested in doing after party in the Discord? I gotta wait for the chat to
catch up.
Yeah. My all.
We have Ahsoka.
Oh, we do have Ahsoka. Oh man. Yeah, we've been watching Ahsoka. It's been really good. Very happy with that. But if we do see, I got a couple of yeses. If you guys want to do the live stream after party and bring that back, Fun Guy, I know he's like, I want to load up the Jackbox. Not tonight, but maybe later on in the month we'll do a Jackbox night. We'll actually schedule that out. Just tonight, I can't stay up too late, so we'll do the after party. If you guys want to, we can do the after party tonight, just for a few. Talk more in detail because from what me and Steph have talked about, I want to see what you guys have to say because I know you're in the chat. You can't type fully, and I don't read it too much. But if we're in the Discord live stream after party, we can actually discuss that, and I can hear from what you guys have to say from what we've talked about, and we can just kind of go that. And yes, Chris, I'm going to get into the bingo thing. Crystal, I was creating a graphic for bingo to put on the live stream, and I don't know where the file is. I have no idea where I placed the file. By the way, I can't say that in public. Never mind. almost made a spoiler there for you guys. But yeah, if you guys are interested, we'll go ahead and do the live stream after party after this live stream over on Discord. So if you guys follow us on Discord, be sure to check us in over there. We'll do that. And I want to hear what you guys have to say, what we discussed. But then Bingo, yes, Bingo was his name-o. Crystal and Andrew over at Theme Shots, as well as Stephanie and Hondo over here at BFO. We're working on a little event for you guys for Discord. So I know we've been a little MIA this HHN season, as you guys know, even in August. We got the house and we've been working on some personal things that we've had to address. And it just feels like it's been nonstop. Yeah. I almost said it hasn't been nonstop. But it's been nonstop for us. And I feel like we're finally getting to the point where things are settling down a little bit from us. We just got back from our trip to California, and now we can actually get into the work that we have to do and be able to produce that and show that to you guys. So we're starting to get into that. And one of the things we wanted to do is we'll have an annual thing that we do every single year for Discord. And it'll just be it won't just be for Discord peeps, but we'll also have it for anybody who's interested in it. We'll create some of the information. I'm actually going to read that out for you guys here in a second so you guys can get some details on it. But it's something we'll do that's bingo related. It's an HHN bingo for the month of October. And I'm going to read some of the stuff real quick for you guys on that one. Give me 1 second. One second, because our folks over in Theme Shots, they prepared this thing for us here. It's really awesome. So it is the Brian from Orlando HHN 32 Bingo Mania for the month of October. We'll probably do this every month of October, as well as some other special things. But we are going to start this on Friday the 13th, because we kind of have to do it on this date. I mean, we have a Friday the 13th in October, so why not? But we're going to be starting it Friday the 13th. and it's going to go all the way to November 4th, so the last night of HHN. Every week, we'll have a new bingo card that we will be distributing to those who are interested in participating. So we're not just giving these to anybody, it's to the people who are interested and will sign up. Each week, we're going to have a different game pattern that you will have to complete in order to turn in your card to win. Bingo cards, as soon as they are completed, needs to be emailed to blank, because we're working on the whole email system. We'll give you guys an actual email. What we'll end up doing is I'll post it in the Discord once that goes public, and then for reference, I'll probably make a community post for you guys on YouTube, and I'll try to put it in the description of this once we get everything finalized. But it will be done through a specific email with the proof of the picture in the form of each square completed in the bingo card. Prizes will be distributed, so winners will be getting some special awards for competing in this. So of course, we'll send that out to you guys sometime this week. Possibly by this weekend. It all depends. We're still working. I'm gonna take this out. This ain't working anymore. We're still working on the details and stuff with our folks over at Theme Shots to get all of that situated for you guys for this month. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited for that. We have that going on. We also still have the Halloween Hawaiian Nights. That is happening over on Instagram, and we're getting a couple of entries throughout the past few weeks. And at the very end of HHN, we'll have a live stream in November where we go ahead and post the selected nominees for contention to win the first ever Halloween Hawaiian Nights, which they will get a special award for that as well. So we're doing a couple of different competitions and some fun things throughout the event. This is kind of the beta year for the beta. This is the beta year.
This is the beta year.
This is the beta year. This is the beta year that we have for some of these things that we'll do. And then next year, everything's going to be polished since we're finally settled in. We'll get all the kinks worked out this year for you guys. So we'll give you guys all the information on that. So we have the Halloween Hawaiian Nights. Make sure you guys submit that on Instagram. All you have to do is hashtag Halloween Hawaiian Nights, hashtag BFO, and then tag both Stephanie from Orlando and Brian from Orlando in that post to be
you guys, I changed my handle on Instagram to Steph from Orlando.
Yeah, Steph from Orlando. So I feel like we're a family. Now we're going to get Hondo an account. We'll call him Hondo from Orlando. Hondo from Orlando. He's sleeping.
Do the Hawaiian Nights photos have to be only the person entering, or can it be with your Scream Squad? It can be with your Scream Squad.
Yeah. It could be. You can have people with it as long as like you are in it and you're the one submitting it, and you use those hashtags and the tags and stuff.
Yeah.
That'll work out. So, but so we have the Halloween Hawaiian Nights going on. We'll have the bingo stuff starting soon, which that'll be a lot of fun too, because that'll involve a lot of things in the park and you actually being at the event, as well as things that you can do at home too. So anybody could really do this. And I think there was one more thing. We're working on one more thing, actually, that we haven't publicly stated, nor will we state soon.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. So, but yeah, so we got a couple things in the works. We're getting through that, and then we're gonna do the live stream after party, which Crystal and Andrew, if you guys are hearing us on, if you can hear my voice, wondering if we can get that ready to go here soon, and we'll get that all squared away on Discord. So if you guys are in Discord, if you guys want to join in and talk more about HHN Orlando and Hollywood, we're gonna do that and get into some nitty gritty things that I can't say in public, because people will get upset, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to get in trouble, but I will do it in Discord. I have the free reign to do that there, so be prepared for that. But other than that, HHN Hollywood and 50 hours of me talking straight through about this and that. We had a great time. It was actually a trip that I'm really thankful and blessed that we got the opportunity to do this and go out there and have a good time. And it's really cool to be with the one that you love and going to do the events that you love. I love you. To spend the time with Steph and to be able to experience an event that we love so much that we've never got to experience yet. We got to do it for the first time together. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time, and to all the folks out in Hollywood, and to everybody that we got to meet too out there. There was a couple people when we first got to HHN Hollywood, and we were right there under the arch and stuff. We had somebody come around, and I think they messaged us on YouTube. I gotta get back to their comment, and I'm really behind on comments, guys. I do apologize. Instagram, YouTube, Discord. We're just trying to catch up since the trip, but we had people that were like, Brian, Steph, welcome to Hollywood and all. And I think that moment's what really like picked up my energy, because we were tired, but I was also like, yeah, all right, let's see HHN Hollywood. This is exciting. And it was a lot of fun. And to be able, when we got back to the hotel and we got into the room and we looked out the window, you could see the event. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So, any last words?
No, nothing I can think of. There was something. Oh, they were talking about the Exorcist movie. And I was just going to say, we're planning on seeing it Thursday. So. Or Friday.
Well, no. Yeah, we have tickets for it on Thursday, but we are also doing
the Blumfest.
The Blumfest event at Universal on Friday. Well, we're planning to do it. We have other work we have to do, but it's literally from like 10:30 in the morning all the way to like 6 in the afternoon.
Yeah, we don't really know anything about it.
Yeah, I got an email. I just got an email from them not too long ago, and we have to read.
Oh, we didn't say anything about the live shows. We didn't do Blumfest or the Blumhouse thing.
Yeah, we didn't do that one.
I actually really liked the Purge show, the Waterworld show.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool. The practical effects with all the blood was awesome. I mean, the acting and the dialogue and the storyline was a little corny, but I kind of liked it. It felt like we've said, like, it kind of feels like what theme parks used to be, and they're not really anymore. So it's kind of cool to see that. And then to have the like horror overlay with all the blood and everything was pretty cool.
Yeah. To see the practical effects like that.
I liked it.
That was awesome. Show was cool. I'll say that. Like, it's unique. It's something that I've never seen at Horror Nights. So I like that we get to see something like that. But I think we're going to call it a night on the YouTube live stream. And I think we're going to trickle on over to the Discord for the live stream after party, where I'll talk a little bit more. I don't want to use the word vulgarly.
Freely
about some of the thoughts and things that I want to see with the event and comparisons to. Currently on our schedule, let me bring this up too. I want to talk to you guys about the schedule if you guys care. If not, good night. We'll see y'all later. But let me pull some up. We're so tired. Is that his tail?
Yeah.
I was like, what is that? So right now, Steph and I, on the other side of the screen, I want to make sure, you can't see it in the live, right? Nothing like reveals it. Okay, cool. So on the other side of this screen, I have an entire list and schedule. Where are you going? Oh. Those are all clipped up, though. You have to go around. That one's good.
Talk about the schedule.
Bye. I miss you. Well, we'll wait here. We'll be quiet. We'll wait. Anyways, we have an entire schedule in list of some of the creative ideas that we have that we're working on for you guys. And like I said, 6 videos I believe we have scheduled for the month of October going into November. Just lost a lightsaber. And we have like 5 live streams. So what I'll do is I think we're going to cap it for tonight's live stream. We'll trickle over to the Discord one. And then what we'll also do is next week we'll discuss more of those things like we continued with what we talked about tonight's live stream. Excuse me. And let me pull up. Hold up. I think I got a calendar. Is it this one? Yeah. So like for instance, we have our HHN Hollywood video. I'm gonna try to get up on Thursday for you guys. The Blumhouse or the Blumfest that we're doing Friday, I'm actually going to try to get it up on Saturday. If not, it'll be up on Sunday for you guys. And then we have a regular video style, like in-studio video that we're going to go ahead and film. We haven't done an in-studio video in a long time. So we'll do an in-studio video for you guys. What I have it scheduled next Sunday is when we're going to film it. And that's what we're going to have Hollywood versus Orlando. I don't know if I wanted to say that, but yes, There you go. Hollywood versus Orlando. We're going to have a certain video that we have scripted for that we plan to film next week. And then that'll hopefully be recorded before our live stream next week, Tuesday. We'll host another live stream next week, Tuesday. Same time, same place. Currently is what we're planning. And then right after that live stream, either Wednesday or Thursday, we'll post that in-studio video. Then we still have our food video. We still haven't done a HHN Orlando food video. We still have one of those to do. And I'm surprised we haven't done that. We usually do one in September and then October, a part 1 and part 2. So we plan to hopefully do a big one sometime this month. Later on in this month, we'll do that. Of course, like I said, live streams currently every Tuesday, except for Halloween night. We won't be doing a live stream Halloween night. We'll probably do it on the 30th, and that'll be a later stream. Why did I say that was going to be a later stream, not Monday? Do you remember? On the 30th, October 30th?
Because you work.
Oh, I do work, yes. And I'm going to get out late that night. Oh, I'm also going to get out very late next week because I have inventory, by the way. I have to show you the schedule on that one. We'll talk about that. Yes.
Not important right now.
Well, it will be in a minute. But yeah, so then that's the only live stream that won't be held on Tuesday. It'll be held Monday the 30th. Because that Tuesday we're gonna be at Horror Nights. It's Halloween night. We're gonna go celebrate there. But we have a couple more videos that we have planned for you guys. So that's kind of the upcoming schedule. And then in November, we're gonna kick off a new series that we haven't done before, and we hope to get to do it. But I have to come up with a name. Did we agree on the name, by the way, for this?
For what?
The series that we're going to do in November?
Yeah.
I don't think we agreed on the name fully, but this is what we currently have. And I might talk with our Fright Club members more about it. I might even discuss it on the Discord after party tonight. But we have the HHN Post Show is what we're going to go ahead and do. That's going to be a series in November where we kind of recap the previous year and things like that, and then it'll kind of trickle us over into the speculation season for 2024, because believe it or not, we are 1 month away. What's today, the 3rd? Just over a month away from really getting into speculation season. And I know people are already talking about speculations for next year already, and I'm like, slow down. Let's finish this year first.
Well, Murdy had to go and drop.
I know. Murdy out there doing stuff, which I love. But it's like, let's get through this year first. And then in November, we'll kind of recap HHN for this year. And then towards the end of November, December.
Some people have finished their trips already, and now they need next year to kind of look forward to.
Well, look at our old videos then and soak on that first until we get there. Because we still got a long way to go. Just halfway.
Soak on that?
Soak on that. That's weird. I'm getting tired. I'm starting to get slappy.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. So, but yeah, so we still got a lot that we have planned out. We're excited to do that. We have a new series we're going to be doing in November. So August is our countdown to HHN series. Then we'll have the HHN season. Then we'll have our HHN post show in November. And then we have a couple of other series that we are in the making with right now. Mm-hmm. That's in the making. We're in the making with these series.
Yes.
Yes. A lot in the works. And I hope that we can actually keep a promise this time. So.
Bye.
That's it. So anyone here? Anybody still here? But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get ready for the live stream after party. So check us out over on Discord over there, guys. Brian from Orlando on Discord, and we'll see you guys there in the live stream. So that's it. It's not. We're not done. We still have more. I'm kidding. All right. Good night, guys. Hondo's here. We'll see y'all. I feel like that's just like ended too abruptly though.
Okay, see ya.
Okay, bye. What we really should have done is thank you so much, guys, for joining us in tonight's live stream. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for talking with us, HHN Hollywood and Orlando. And until that next video and that next live stream, we'll see you guys there. And like always, we'll catch you guys in the fog. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Dang it, I missed the damn button. Hold up. That's the wrong one. Is it this one? That's the wrong one too. This one.